All right, guys, the wait is over. Our first Chalk Talk of the 2012 season. I'm joined here by Cambridge High head coach John Shea, and we're going to look at a few plays from last weekend's loss to Everett. It was, we're not one for moral victories here, but it was pretty impressive to see the kind of looks that they threw at Everett and some of the scoring plays there. So we're going to take a look at that. But first, I want to ask about just when you took over the program last year. You look at the talent, you evaluate your exploits. What, I guess, prompted you to go with this modified spread look here?
Well, you know, we've been in for the last few years. When I was a coach at Middleborough, we had been in some type of a spread. And I liked a lot of what it brought to the table and what you could do out of it. I think it's a good high school offense. We really modified it to make it more of a pure passing offense. Like a lot of high schools, we were doing a lot of QB runs out of it and whatnot. And really, the number one things to me, one, I thought we had really good receivers that we wanted to exploit. And two, we had more of a traditional throwing style quarterback, available to us in David Magel. And I thought, well, let's let him do that and let these guys be receivers rather than trying to, necessarily always get creative with, fancy quarterback runs and, and then your quarterback's getting hit and whatnot. So we kind of just took what we were already doing and just made it a little bit more, in some ways, traditional out of the spread.
This is your second stint here in Cambridge. You were a defensive coordinator on Kwame Dixon during his final years here at Cambridge. I think that the little secret here is that there's talent in the school. You look at the success of the basketball team, you look at the state champion volleyball squad, you look at how they are in other sports. For instance, last year, you go 2-8, but you got a tight end, Kevin Levancy, doing a redshirt year at UMass right now. What can you say about the talent that comes up through Cambridge?
Yeah, we have a lot of good talent here. I've always felt that Cambridge could be a sleeping giant. When I came here in 2003 as the defensive coordinator, I thought, there's a lot of talent here we can tap into. It happened to work out right away those years. We had two very good years, but it's just, I think, always kind of been the thing. Now, having said that, it's not always easy to tap into. Sometimes it can be spotty. You got the one great player this year. A few years later, you have another, college prospect, but maybe you didn't always have the full team. And I think one of our big challenges is the recruiting part of it, getting more kids to get excited about football so that when you have, the Kevin Levancies or now an Elijah Scott, and we certainly have others this year, but, that we have all those other pieces around him. And we're getting there, but we still got work to do in that regard.
I want to talk about two players in specific. Let's first go with Elijah Scott, a senior receiver there. As you'll see on the film, a couple really nice catches he makes here. What's it like coaching a player like that? That seems like he can do a lot of different things for you.
Yeah, well, first of all, Elijah's just a great kid to coach. I mean, he's a good student. He's a good person off the field. I mean, he's got everything you want to be working with as a coach. And he does have a special talent on the field. I mean, he's got good height. He's got good speed. He's a good route runner. But then he kind of has that, beyond that. He just has the ability to go up and make catches. He'll out jump people for balls that are taller than him. He'll make, as you'll see him, a little bit, the diving catch. And he has that unbelievable ability. We've heard from college coaches, we like all these other things, and that gets us interested. But what puts him over the top is just that ability to just go up and get the ball.
And let's talk about your quarterback here, David Magel. We've talked about just his mental capacity, a little bit being advanced for his age. How special of a player is he?
He's another one that's just so great to work with. Another good student in school, which obviously is very important to us. And he just, when I think of him, although his arm's getting very good, and obviously you'll see some great clips, but I really think of the mental first. I mean, he gets us in the right play. He has a lot of freedom with the audibles, the protection checks. Now, our line is pretty smart too, but David has a lot of responsibilities for the things they can't see. If a certain coverage tells you that a blitz is going to come from one side, well, the line can't always see the coverage. So, David has to communicate that to them, and then they got to make the adjustment. And really, in a lot of ways, they're doing things like that you might not expect maybe till you're in college. But David's getting done, as a junior, and with linemen, with two juniors on the line, they're all just communicating well and getting that done.
All right, without further ado, we're going to go to the film here. I'm going to shut the lights off, and I'm going to bring Mike over to you. Which play are we showing here first?
We're going to show the Elijah's catch that everyone wants to talk about. I figure start off with what everyone wants to see. So here's the catch a lot of people are talking about. Here's Elijah Scott right here. He's our ex-receiver, and he's going to make a great catch. I'm going to run it through once soon to start with, and then I'll kind of go back and talk about a little of what made it happen. So here we see it. We see a protection check here. We're putting the fullback over. And then obviously here's the great catch everybody's talking about. A couple of things make this happen. So first, obviously it starts with the protection. Everett has some great pass rushers. They send a lot of different things. Now they're not sending a lot of people on this play, But every play against Everett, you got to be ready for that because they will come at you from a lot of different angles. They're a very well-coached football team with a lot of great athletes on defense. So David wants to protect back here just to make sure. You see this guy here is going to end up getting double-teamed. All right, and the rest of the line just kind of blocks man on, and we get it nice. Now, they do send one extra guy here on a twist, and you'll see just before David throws it, you'll see the centering guard coming off. Right here he is right here, and you'll see him get picked up. So that's what makes that happen. This is a 4th and long, so David needs time in the pocket, and this is a great pocket for him to step up into and throw. The other thing, if we go back to the beginning of this, we're trying to get this Elijah Booker, another great receiver for us, runs great routes, very fast kid. He's going down the middle of the field. Elijah's going to be running a go. Let me actually just draw it in here. He's going to be running down the middle. Elijah's running the go route out here. We're trying to get this guy here on a 2-on-1. Now, one of the great things that the Everett defense does here, this guy here, he notices that we're keeping the tight end in for protection, and he frees up and takes away Elijah from us. So our first read is taken away, but not by the guy we want. See, we want this guy to have to make a choice. We're letting that guy double team Elijah, and in essence, Elijah's beating his man here, but this guy here is freed up to take Elijah, so that takes away the number 1 option. So now Elijah Scott is getting double covered. Well, let's look at what he does from the beginning here. So the cornerback forces Elijah in, which again, good defense. They know they got help inside. They want to do that. Elijah goes inside and then immediately fights to get back outside. He's probably a little more in than we'd prefer, but that's a good cornerback, so he immediately fights to get outside even before he looks back for the ball. So he knows what's coming. Then David knows he has to, what we call, throw him open, which is, if you look at the position of the double coverage here, this is the spot we want to throw. We want to lead him away from the coverage. Well, as you watch this play develop, you see he's getting more open as he goes. Right now, it's a tough spot for David to throw it, but having said that, it goes just a little bit further than we want. Now, a little too short is intercepted, so you don't have a lot of choices as a quarterback, but it goes just a little further than he would have liked, so that's why, to cap it off, Elijah has to make a great catch. All that other great work goes to waste here unless we make this great catch, and you can see right there the perfect picture of it. And that's how it all came to be. All right, so here's another one here. We'll see. So again, we got the same formation here. We got Elijah Scott and Elijah Booker lined up inside of him. So 2 great receivers. You'll see the same protection check in this case. They're still staying with a 2-deep coverage. One of the things that's real interesting here, you'll see just before the snap, this guy's bailing. Usually when you have help over the top, if you notice, everyone else is trying to jam and play tight. But they're trying to loose. They're really worried about Elijah running a corner route. And earlier in the game, we ran Elijah Booker on a corner route, and they did a great job covering it. So we came back with this. Right, and you'll notice here, I wish we had a slightly wider view, but you notice him here kind of sticking to the corner and then breaking back in, and you'll see what happens when he comes open here. He comes open inside, and we got another great catch. So a couple of things happen here. Right, obviously, again, right, we got good protection. But another thing, you'll watch Ralph up here, Ralph Guzman, does a brilliant job setting this corner up and beating him outside, which is what they don't want because they don't want the safety to get pulled off the hash. So he goes outside, so that pulls the weak safety over there, and then Elijah Booker's fake pulls the other safety. So if you look here, you can only see his shadow. He'll come back in a minute. This safety's out here playing a corner route. This safety got pulled off the hash all the way to the numbers because of the fade. The read for David is really number 1, Elijah Booker, number 2, Ralph on this. So it's a little bit of an unusual read from where they lined up. And with the safety going out to cover Ralph, the other safety goes in for the corner, we get a nice hole here. What almost messes it up for us, the 2 Everett linebackers, and again, Everett's a great defense, they get really good depth here. So we have to arc the throw over them, so it's just a little higher than we would have liked because we have to get it over them, which forces Elijah Booker to make a really nice catch here and just split the safeties and get a big play for us. Let's go to the next one. So this is a little later in the game. So you see now that they're taking away the inside a little better because we've been exploiting the inside. So now you got double coverage here where they're both inside technique. Also, I should point out the formation's a little different. So now Elijah Booker's over here opposite Elijah Scott. But Shaquille Anderson, our fullback, is in the slot. Well, Shaq is probably our best all-around athlete. I mean, he can fly. So he really demands a lot of respect out here, but yet your 2 kind of, primary receivers are here. And Ralph, who I had 2 touchdowns in the game, and we just saw a great route where he didn't get the ball, he's out here. So there's a lot of people they have to honor here. So what happens now is we actually go ahead and run the corner. Now, again, I'll let it run through, and then I'll take it back. But we actually run the corner, and you get both guys on the inside, and you know, the ball's going through the corner. And again, another great play here. So now if you look at this from the beginning, again, another great job by Everett. I can't stress this enough. We're seeing this from just before the snap, but you know, this guy is normally the guy that would be out here on check. You got a safety over the top. This guy ends up, you can see it now, but he ends up blitzing. This guy that looks like a linebacker, you see he's kind of cheating back. He's going to go over to get Shaq as this guy comes in. So our line notices it, but just a speck too late, so we get a lot of pressure. So if you watch here, we don't quite get out on the blitzing outside backer quick enough, and David has to get this off quick, but fortunately he makes a nice throw under pressure just before he gets hit. And that's a nice job all around. And this one here, and once again, let me, I'll run it, and then I'll go back. This is just a beautiful throw-in catch, nice route, just everything just the way it should look, getting out of our own end. When you watch back, so we're back to this formation. So we got Elijah Booker over here, who demands safety over the top. We got Ralph out here, again, who had a great game. And again, we got Shaq in the slot. So if you look at this right now, you could probably tell it looks like a straight man coverage. You got these 2 guys here. One of the important things about this route, as you notice Elijah runs the fade, you'll notice Shaq running a quick out route. So that's really important. Everett disguises their coverage a lot. If this safety right here was to bail and try to double Elijah, Shaq would be breaking away from any kind of game they would have tried to play in here. This guy sliding out as we saw last time. So that was a really important part of the coverage. Once that doesn't happen, and once that safety goes with Shaq, see it here in 1 second. See, so he got flat-footed, and he's breaking. So now David knows. You know, to us, if we got one-on-one with Elijah Scott, Elijah's open, so we throw it up there. And just a great throw and a great catch. Well, and once again, you know, we have to get this off under pressure. I can't stress enough how great Everett was here. This kid here is a tremendous guard for us, and because we had an injury to one of our best linemen, he had to move out and play tackle, and did a fantastic job for us. But the angles are different at tackle and guard, so it's a little harder. And going up against this guy for about 60 plays, sooner or later, Everett was going to have a couple with pressure, and this is an example of one where it was. And he's doing a pretty good initial job here, but again, just going against a tremendous end. So David, again, has to get it off while he's being hit. Elijah does a great job against really good coverage. So here's another good one. Now, we're in trips this time. We didn't use trips a lot this game. But so now we got Elijah Scott, Elijah Booker, and Ralph Guzman right next to each other. And as I said, Ralph had a tremendous game here. We've seen him, you know, as a decoy and whatnot so far. But here's one where he makes the play. But he's really involved in every play because he's so quick that he's kind of a matchup nightmare for anyone to deal with. And so in this case here, and again, we didn't do it all the time, but you do see the same protection check we've had to do a lot. You know, putting Shaq to the other side and trying to get that. You know, I think David felt comfortable that if they came from this side, we could throw hot, but he wanted to make sure he was always protected backside. And you'll really see right here, basically what we're trying to do here is just get it stretched. So Elijah ends up actually running a comeback here. Elijah Scott. Elijah Booker just goes straight down the field. So now we got here Ralph doing the inside moves. And again, we're just trying to get the safety that's back there to have to make a tough choice and have David throw opposite that. So as you watch it develop, and Ralph ends up making a great move. You see right here, Ralph, this guy's coming out to get him, and he's trying to wall him off. And he makes just a great inside move here to get inside. And right there, you see it. So you see the safety had to get pulled with Elijah Booker. You see here's Elijah Scott on the comeback. The safety got pulled with Elijah Booker, and you got a nice opening. But once again, Everett's linebackers are just so good. Look at the depth on that. It just forces every throw to be harder than it should be on a blackboard. But David does a great job of dropping that in there. And then if you watch the concentration on Ralph, to be able to catch the ball and then just immediately put on a move and end up getting a big touchdown for us.
Awesome stuff, John. I appreciate your time. This is some interesting stuff they're running over here. But let's look to this year. All right, you're 2-3. There have been some blowouts, and then you've been blown out. It's been kind of a mixed bag so far. Where do you think you need to improve upon most the rest of the season?
I mean, we really need to improve in every area. I mean, every area I think has shown times when it's been very good, but other times not as well. You know, we've had some big runs, but I don't think our running game has been consistent enough. There are times we've missed opportunities in the passing game, despite the good numbers. We could have been better. Defense, I think, has definitely had some moments, but again, I think we can get a little more consistent there. So, we try to improve in every area every week, and we do our best to make that happen. And I think it's starting to happen, but still a lot of hard work ahead of us.
How do you feel about the foundation going forward with this program with David? Obviously, you're going to lose Elijah Scott next year, but you got Booker back, you got Shaq, and I don't know what you got coming up through the ranks, but how do you feel about the foundation right now with Cambridge football?
Yeah, we feel good about it. We got a lot of promising young players, but sort of like this year, I feel the same for the program. You can never rest on the laurels. We got some good up and coming players, but there'll be some holes to fill, and we got to work in terms of recruiting and in terms of developing to fill those holes. You're never really done in high school football, so we're certainly happy with those players we have that'll be coming back, and we got to do our best to build off of them and to build around them.
All right, that's about it. So thank you again, Coach Shea. This has been a very informative session. We really appreciate your time here. And for more coverage, go to ESPNBoston.com.